Hello, my oodles and noodles, back again. Joys of the world. Today we're going to do another little review, another fantasy review for shits and giggles. For shits and giggles, we're going to do another review because I've got nothing else to do right now. And today I wanted to talk about this gosh darn book. One of the worst covers I've ever seen. But a fun book. Mercedes Lackey and Larry Dixon wrote this. I have no idea who Larry Dixon is. To be honest, I've read a load of Mercedes Lackey's books. I've seen her names all over the place. And yet, Larry Dixon, de nada. OwlFlight. Simple book. Cool premise. Interesting novel. Set, of course, in the same world as the Heralds of Valdemar. So this is probably one of Mercedes Lackey's most famous series. It's a world of magic and conflict and political turmoil. Those of you who haven't read those books, to be fair, I haven't read much of them, so I'm not going to comment too much, but they do have some pretty cool concepts. You do have, of course, the heralds, who are humans who are bonded to these magical horses that are telepathic and allow them access to magic. It's pretty cool. I like the idea. They've done well overall over the years, so I'm going to assume they're all pretty darn good. And what's interesting in this series, and of course you get a little peek of it in this book, is that the novels all, even though they're happening over a very large time frame at different points in time, you get to see the aftermath of these different things that happen in other books and how they're affecting people as of now. So in OwlFlight, we are following a young boy named Darian. And Darian lives in this little village, and he's apprenticed to this hedge wizard named Justin, who is training him to be effectively the person who's going to take over for him after. The only problem is Darian does not want to be his apprentice. The only problem is Darian's parents were killed or died, or we're unsure. They disappeared in the Pelagiris forest. And Pelagiris forest is this gigantic forest that's right near this village. And it has been changed by the mage storms. And the mage storms are something that comes from other novels in the series. Without giving too much away, effectively there are these giant storms that magically change the land, and what exactly and where exactly they came from is something you can discover by reading the book. But all you need to know is that this forest is quite dangerous, and it's changed animals into monsters and dangerous creatures, but also into beautiful, wonderful things. And young Darian is living his life in this village, kind of unliked by most of the people in the village, while simultaneously being told that he should be happy, that they're even taking care of him, even though his parents were fools. And so he's living an unhappy life. Justin, the wizard, is a nice person, but of course doesn't really know how to handle a young boy. And of course this all becomes kind of a moot point because something happens, a load of crap goes down, and young Darian is no longer in the care of the village and ends up with the Hawk Brothers. And the Hawk Brothers are a kind of grouping of people. I don't really think they're a race of people per se. It's a bit confusing on that end. They seem to be more people who are inducted into more of a tribe or a clan. Although most of them tend to be magic users, which is, again, unclear why are they all like that, how it is. But there are conglomerations of peoples, and they also have non-human races who come along with them. So there are deer-like animals who are actually telepathic and can speak. There are these little hertasses, they're like little lizard people who also are cleaners and cooks for them in return for protection from the overall group. There's a lot of these little intricate symbiotic relationships between the humans and these non-human races functioning together and helping each other out. Much more of an alliance. And Darian ends up involved with this group and trying to deal with the big baddie in this book, which is actually one of the most pleasant parts about this novel. It is not the end of the world, the person trying to conquer the world. It is simply bad people doing some bad things, and we're going to stop them. And Darian is not the chosen one. He's not this genius. He's not this brilliant person. He's just a relatively intelligent young boy who has a few abilities that he's developing, and he ends up with these Hawk brothers, and they're helping him, and he's helping them to try to figure out how to deal with this conflict in the moment. Behind all of that is this really interesting lore, as I said, a really interesting world, how the magic system works, the complexity of it, how the Hawk brothers function as a tribe and a unit. Even the other characters, they're all fun. There's nothing overly complex. Don't expect to go into this novel and just be like wowed by the emotional depth of everything and the world. It's just a fun ride that's simple, sweet, easy to flow through, doesn't change its pacing suddenly. It's kind of very, very consistent all the way through. And because of that, it makes an overall pleasant read. This is a palate cleanser, as far as I'm concerned. It is the kind of novel you read when you want to just enjoy a story for the sake of its simplicity, and then maybe go on to something huge like Stormlight Archives or Malazan. So if you're looking for something easy and a quick read, I highly recommend this novel. I read the entire series a long time ago. I don't really recall book 2. I remember a little bit of book 3, just enough to know that I enjoyed book 2. I enjoyed book 3. It kind of followed this similar pattern. So if you're looking for a nice trilogy that's not too long, each book is about 300 pages or so. So it's not going to be something that's too time consuming. You're pretty much mostly in Darian's point of view throughout the entire trilogy, so you don't have to kind of hold too many characters together. And the characters that you do get some other storyline and background to, you're introduced to slowly, and the cast fleshes out in a slow enough manner that you're never overwhelmed. It's a nice story. Action's pretty good too. Nothing crazy, but interesting enough when it does happen that you're appreciating it. That's pretty much all I gotta say on that. I really think people need to have more novels like this. We're sort of at an impasse in reading these days, where it's whatever novel is big and flashy at this moment. You know, it's brand new, it's being talked about all over the place, it's so great. Or it's like these huge, epic, big novels like Stormlight or Malazan or, you know, Wheel of Time, and those are really, really great. But sometimes you just want a simple read, and YA novels can be really good for this. The only problem is, of course, is many times the YA novels, the way they handle things and the character development is kind of funky. You do have, of course, exceptions to the rules. I do think you could probably consider OwlFlight to be dipping into YA territory quite a bit, but overall, I still consider it to be an adult novel-ish. Maybe I'm wrong on that. It's on the line. It's on the line. Check it out. Let me know what you think down below. Like, comment, subscribe. Check out the website, geektails.ca. I hope you enjoy the book as much as I enjoyed it. I definitely needed the palate cleanser after the Poppy War, which you can check out the review over here. Enjoy your weekend, folks.